Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. The mic is on? Mic is on? Okay. Okay, let's do the second mantra. Okay. Okay, repeat after me. This is, we are doing the second mantra of the fourth Brahmana of the first chapter. So we have so far that Atma is now in the form of a firstborn as a Purusha. Now he looked around and found that there is no one else other than himself. And he said, I am there. So I am started with him. From then on, everybody uses I am. So that's what the scripture says. Now let's go to this mantra 2. Is it okay? Oh, I didn't turn it on? Okay. I turned the other one on and not this one. Okay, now I can see. Okay, number 2, mantra. Saha abhibhet tasmat ekaki bhiveti sahayam iksham chakre yanmadanyan nasti kasmanu vibhemiti tataha evasya bhayam viyaya kasmat bhivishyat dvitiyadvai bhayam bhavati dvitiyadvai bhayam bhavati dvitiyadvai bhayam bhavati. So when he looked around and there is no one else other than him, and the scripture says, Saha abhibhet. He was afraid. And then scripture says, Tasmat ekaki bhivet. Therefore, everybody gets afraid when they are alone. Now the scripture moves from him to all of us. Whenever you are alone, you are afraid. Why? Because he did that for us. He started it. Remember, he started I am. Now we are also worried. When we are alone, tasmat ekaki bhibhet. Then go back again. Sahayam iksham chakre yanmadanyan nasti kasmin vivemiti. So he looked around and Sayam Icham Chakra. He looked around and thought, examined, said, why am I afraid? After all, there is nobody else. Kasmin Anyad na asti. There is nobody else there. Why should I be afraid? Kasmin miti. Therefore, why am I afraid unnecessarily? So he thought and inquired himself, analyzed himself, and found out that there is no need for me to be afraid of, because there is no one else for me to be afraid of. Tata evasya bhayam miyaya kasmat bhivishyat. So therefore, anybody is alone is afraid, but after thinking, that no one is there for me to be afraid of, the fear gone away for him. So here, he was alone, there is nobody else, therefore he was afraid. So one is loneliness, another is aloneness. You have to see the difference between the two a little bit. Loneliness causes fear. So if somebody left me in a room and locked the door, I feel I am imprisoned, right? I want freedom. Suppose I don't want anybody, I lock the door. I am alone, I am free. So one is recognizing that I am alone is there in the universe, because there cannot be anything other than me, because I am being infinite consciousness, I alone am, I am expressing myself in everything else, is a different, a knowledge of aloneness as a fact, but fearfulness because I am alone and there is no one else, I don't know what's going to happen to me. So the fear comes because of ignorance. So here the cause of fear is being analyzed here. So why am I afraid of anything? Now you analyze in your own, not the scripture. So whenever I'm afraid of, what am I afraid of? Of myself or somebody else? If I'm afraid of somebody else other than me, then I have not read the previous mantra. I myself became many, right? So I am there, that also if I understand clearly, then how can I be afraid? So one has to be careful in terms of fear comes when there is a duality, and that's what the scripture says. Why we repeat it 3 times? This is a famous statement from this Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. It says, Dvitiyadvai bhayam bhavati. Whenever there are two, it contributes to fear. Because one is afraid of other. One is not afraid of yourself, but one is afraid of other than yourself. But if you think the other than yourself is different from yourself, then the fear comes. But if you understand that other self is not really the other self, but myself only in other form, then there cannot be reason for me to fear. But here, the statement scripture says, doesn't say that. What he says is he looked around and he knew in the previous sloka that he is alone, there is no one else. So when he is afraid, then he thought. He analyzed the situation. He says, why am I afraid? There is nobody else other than me. Therefore, there is no reason for me to be afraid of. But question is that a knowledge or recognition that there is nobody else there? Now, Shankaracharya goes into exhaustive analysis of this, but there is always a question now. If I say that he understood that he is not lonely, but he is alone because he understood that there is nothing other than him, that means he is Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi. If he has the knowledge, Aham Brahmasmi means I am infinite, there cannot be anything other than infinite. So if he understood that, that means he is Jnani. So Jnani will not be afraid because he understood there is nothing other than him. What should be afraid of? But if he is not a Jnani, then it is only that there is no other being, therefore he is not afraid. Is it out of knowledge or out of knowing that there is no other person there? So fear comes when there is second. It says dvitiyadyo bhayam bhavati. So if there is a second, there is a fear. Therefore, if I go to a deep sleep state, there is no second. So when we go to a deep sleep state, from waking state to dream state and a deep sleep state, in the deep sleep state there is nothing else to disturb me because there is no other. Because absence of everything, no object is there. And therefore, I am all by myself, therefore nobody is afraid in the deep sleep state. The scripture also says, whenever there is a second, dvitiyado bhayam bhavati, fear comes from the second only. So there are different reasons for fear. One is, I am alone, I am afraid. The second reason is, there is somebody else, I am afraid. What will cause me? What he is going to do to me? And the third reason I am afraid is, I don't know, therefore I am afraid. Ignorance also can cause. Ignorance of what? Ignorance of what's going to happen in future. So that's because people are, I'm afraid I'm afraid of what's going to happen. I'm afraid all our fears are something that's going to happen. Why? Because I have some expectations which may not be met. That's what I'm afraid of. Follow? Suppose I have no expectations from anybody, anything. Then why am I afraid of nothing? I have expectations only because I feel I am unfulfilled, or I am not full by myself as I am. Therefore, I want something else. Therefore, I expect something else to make me full. So look at all that. So any desire is only fulfillment to reach the fullness. With that I am going to be full, with that I am going to be full, and therefore I am adding a finite things to make myself infinite. That's what essentially is. So I know that I am finite and I want to become infinite. By how? By adding another finite things. Oh, getting married, I am going to be happy from now on, right? That's what we all did. Why? With her or with him I am going to be happy, otherwise I am unfulfilled. So every desire is trying to fill myself. I want to reach a fullness, happy state, because I have recognized myself, I am not full by myself, and I will be full by having. So all the rat race comes from morning to evening, running after what? To make myself full by adding finite things. But finite plus finite is only finite. It cannot be infinite. So it is a losing battle. I can never be full by adding things. But desire to become full cannot go. You will be running after the class is over, you will be running to full yourself, right? Lunchtime will come. So, how are we going to deal with it? Only solution is, I am full by myself. That understanding has to sink in. It will sink in the class, but after the class is over again, we will back to the same. Someone asked me, what should I do? Nothing to do. Keep on sinking, keep on taking this. This is why scripture says, Srotavyaha. Means, that's what in this scripture, in this Upanishad also comes. It says, Srotavyaha. You have to listen to the scriptures. How long? I already attended last camp. Therefore, attend this camp also. In fact, there will be another camp. Because I'm planning, if materializes, there will be camp because Somnath building is coming up in Virginia. So instead of transporting all the Virginians here, we will have camp there itself. So we'll have camp of everybody, not only Virginians. We want to make sure that everybody comes to that also. So we will try to have, if it's still in the plans. I'm just announcing, pre-announcing, during the Columbus Day, the 3-day weekend, we may have a camp where we may take the other chapter, other Kanda. So how long I attend these camps? Until this knowledge sinks in deeply, yes, indeed. Then what should I do? Then attend the camp again. Why? To enjoy your glory. It becomes Atma Vibhuti. Vibhuti means, hey, this is me. Scripture is telling me about me only. So beautiful to hear. Somebody praises about you, you like to hear, right? Please continue. And the scripture is telling about you only. You are this, you are that, you are that. Because that's my glory. I am that only because everything me only. So, how long? Until you drop out. It becomes no more knowledge of knowing, learning. It becomes a firm abidance in the knowledge itself. Scriptural study becomes, whenever you read the scripture now, I should read the scriptures, not to learn anymore, because I already learned, but to enjoy your own glory, that yes, that is true, that is true, that is true. So everything becomes a meditation. That is what nididhyasitavyaha, where I have to have a constant remembrance of this knowledge all the time. That's called akhanda akara vritti. The scripture says that's akhanda akara vritti. Constant awareness that I am, I am, I am. Spurati hrut swayam. The Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi says, Aham, aham daya spurati hrut swayam, swayam spurati, spontaneously raises, I am indeed, I am indeed, I am indeed. I am what? What again you are adding something else other than I am? I am everything. That has to be, that is not having any dvitiya. No second is there. That is becomes no failure. This Viraj or Virat, has he have the knowledge? Question was posed. If he had the knowledge, who taught him? Was there a teacher? Because we didn't hear any teacher coming there. He was there alone and suddenly realized there's nobody else. Then he was afraid. Then he said, why am I afraid? I am alone. So is this a knowledge gained by a teaching or spontaneously came? He thought, he says, Icham Chakre. He analyzed the situation and came to the conclusion. So there's a lot of discussions in terms of who taught him. But we don't need to worry because we have teachers coming from our tradition coming, so we don't need to worry about who taught us, because there's a Guru Parampara is there. But some people say that he gained the knowledge in the previous life. When he was doing the upasana and all that became, he had already purified the mind, therefore he had the knowledge. If that is the proposition, there is another problem. If he already had knowledge, why is he born again? So if I have the knowledge, then I shouldn't be born. Because punarapavaranam, punarabhjanam, again I am still in the rod, then what is the point in having knowledge? So obviously, he didn't have complete knowledge. Because he is going to feel alone also. He is going to tell us a little bit. So my understanding, so be careful. I am only saying because the Shankara's Bhashya may be different. So I am saying that his knowledge is not complete yet. In the Bhagavatam, this position is solved. How? There in the Bhagavatam, there is called Hamsa Gita. We had a camp also, right? Hamsa Gita. Hamsa Gita means when Brahmaji and Sanat Kumaras, they are feeling lonely and wanting what is this, where are this and all that, suddenly a Hamsa comes there. Lord Narayana himself takes the form of a Hamsa and teaches them Gita. That's in the Uddhava Gita, part of the Uddhava Gita. So Krishna teaching Uddhava, in the Uddhava, he tells different stories of different Gitas. This person has taught this one and this person like that. In that Hamsa Gita, where the Lord himself, all-pervading Lord Narayana himself comes in the form of a Hamsa to teach that. So there is a teacher and they taught there. But here that is not specified. So we will leave that as it is, as a question mark. But because the subsequent mantra says he felt lonely and therefore he wanted a company. So, we go through all that, we're not going through those mantras, but essentially he created a lady so that he can marry and then he has children and all those things goes on in the next mantras, okay? So here the important point is, whenever you are alone, you are sleepy, and Advaita, this is what you have to be careful. Any Dvaita becomes a problem. Therefore, Advaita alone is the reality, and that's what the scripture tells you, and our experience tells you, because in the deep sleep state, we are all by myself. There is no other person there. That's why everybody would like to go to sleep, right? Even in the class also. So that state where there is nobody else for you to bothering you about, is a state, in the deep sleep state, where there is no duality, and that is pure happiness also. So therefore, in the Taittiriya Upanishad, Udara mantaram kuruti atatasya bhayam bhavati. Any speck of difference will cause you a bhayam, fear. Therefore, any differentiation of any kind is going to cause. But I can differentiate for a game, then it's not. Game is different. When you go and watch a tennis going on, I sometimes wonder, why are they playing? All these fellows hit the ball on the other side, that fellow hits the ball this side. That's all. So somebody said, why don't they have each one ball? There's no problem then. That's not a game, there's only one ball. So you cannot have that game only because there has to be loser and winner and all that. But that's fun. They'll shake their hands and then come out, right? So I can play the game of life knowing it is a game, provided I know it's really a game. But if I take it seriously, then I have a real problem. So there is nothing wrong with the game. So I have one teacher, we call it Lollipop. That's my cat. Small cat we had. So he taught me a lesson. So it was just playing, if you give something, it doesn't read. It turns and then goes there and turns. I don't know if you see cats, they play a lot. Then I asked, why are you playing? He said, meow. I understood, that's all Maya. So that is natural. Playing is natural for a being. And if you play, there is no problem. But if I take things seriously, then it becomes a problem. So here, Dvitiya Advaita is understanding, and even though there is an apparent duality, but the underlying one is only me only, then there is no other. It's not Brahman something, it's not Ishvara something. Now we are going from, in this camps, we are going from Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara triad to Atma and Anatma. There's only me and everything else in my presence where I am giving the life to it. So we are going from a binary format, from a triangular format. Triangular format is Jiva, Jagat and Ishvara. Now we should understand there is nothing else. Me and the rest of the world, which is only a drama in my presence. Yushmat Ashmat Pratyaya Gocharayoho Vishaya Vishayino Samat Prakashavatu. This is how Adhyasa Bhashya of Shankara starts with this. And just now he chanted a mantra in the Brahmanandavalli. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya Jivo Brahmaiva Aparaha Anena Vedyam Tat Shastram, and he is going to talk about by which you know that alone is the science, and he is going to talk about why that alone is the Shastram as we go along. Now we are going to jump to 7th mantra, and in between these mantras what happened? What happened is he felt alone, and he wanted to have a company, and that's how the production started, and many people, human beings, animals, everything came one after the other. So the whole creation came starting from the Prajapati or the Viraj or Virat. So we are not interested in that because we already have creation there, right? So we'll go into the 7th mantra. So it's 147. So here, after becoming many, and people asking, what is this? Why am I here? What is this whole creation? Now, the jivas who are there in the creation is asking the question, what is all this? And to him is the teaching, and for him this mantra applies now. Taddedam tarhya vyakrutamasit Vedam tarhya vyakrutamasi tannama rupabhyam yeva vyakriyata asau nama ayam idagam rupam iti tadidam apyetarhi nama rupabhyameva vyakriyate asau namayamidam rupa iti sayesha iha pravishtaha anakagre bhava anakagre bhaya anakagre baha anakagre baha, right? Yadaksharaha Charadani Avahitasyat Vishwambarova Vishwambara Kulaye Tamna Pasyanti Akrutasno hi Saha Prananneva Prano Nama Bhavati Vadan Vak Pasyan Chakshuhu Sunvan Srotram Manvano Manaha Tanyastaitani Karma Namanyeva Sayota Ekaika Mupaste Nasaveda Akrutsno kye shota ekaikena bhavati atmechopasita atra hyete sarvam ekam bhavanti tadetat padaniyamasya sarvasya yadayamatma anena hyotat sarvam veda yada havai padenanu vinde devam kirtim slokam vindate ya evam veda. Wow. I'm not going to repeat this. Tad etat tarhi avyakrutam asit. Now, when inquire into this, what was there before? How did this creation come into picture? Somebody asking within the creation, as we are asking, because we are in the creation, we are already created, and all that, how we came. I say, how did it come, and all that we are asking the question now. So, to him, the scripture is teaching now that idam tarhi avyakrutam asit. So what was there before? In that it says Atma was there before. Atma cannot create because it's infinite. So it is the Brahman cannot create. Why is Brahman? Brahman is infinite. Infinite cannot undergo transformation, and there cannot be anything other else for him to create also. Because he is Brahman, he is infinite. If something other than him exists, then he cannot be Brahman. Follow the logic? He is infinite, but means there cannot be anything exclusion. So how do you account this creation? So here the scripture says, since you are asking, I am going to give you an answer. So, tadedam tarhi avyakrutam asit. Before this creation started into varieties or names and forms, there was avyakrutam. Avyakrutam means unmanifest was there. So what is unmanifest was there? Just now you told me Atma was there before. Now what is this unmanifest there? So this is where we have to be careful here. What is this avyakrutam? And next line says, Tannama rupabhyam eva vyakriyata. tat namarupabhyam eva vrakita. That unmanifest itself, tat, became manifested into nama and rupa. That's what the statement is. So I want to know how this creation started. Here is another example coming, and now we have not forgotten the previous, unless the tea has sinked in. We just learned that Atma was there before creation, right? Now, what is this avyakrutam coming into picture? And avyakrutam means unmanifest is coming into picture, and it becoming into many as names and forms, as vyakrutam, as manifest. What is that avyakrutam and vyakrutam? That is what Shankara calls is Maya. Maya is ya ma sa Maya. That which is not there but appears to be there is Maya. So what is Maya but is not there? Then what is it that appears to be there? So now we are coming from Brahman, which is Nirguna Brahma, to Saguna Brahma, who is Mayavi, the one who is the wielder of Maya. So now we have to come to a next level of understanding that what was there before creation is pure existent consciousness, infiniteness, and it cannot create anything because it is infinite. But since I am seeing a creation, now a cock and bull story, if I want to call it, is being given now. So what was there before starting point is there is avyakrutam. Avyakrutam means unmanifest. What is unmanifest? Which is not manifested, which is not manifested yet, is avyakrutam. What do you mean manifested yet? Means there was something that is ready to manifest but has not manifested yet. You follow? He's going to give more discussion of that, but just from the point, a goldsmith has created a ring. What was there before? Before is only gold. No, there was something else besides that. What was there? Idea of a ring was there in his mind for him to make a ring. Right? He's not making a gaga bubu and ended it into ring there. He wanted to make a ring. So he has the samskara of that. I'm using a word now. A samskara in a potential form, in avyakruta form, unmanifested form, which becomes a manifested in the form of a ring or a bangle or a necklace or whatever that he is creating. No, I went to goldsmith shop, and I said, I want to buy something. Say, what is it? There are a lot of rings. And they say, why are you buying all? Why are you selling all these useless rings and bangles? I want a particular ring of this type and that type. And she says, why don't you have that? He says, nobody will buy that. You are only one who is want to buy. I am making it because people want to buy only this kind of rings. If you want, I will make it for you. If that's what you want, I can make, but it will cost you because I have to design it and make it. But people, there is a demand for this kind of rings, therefore I am selling it. Right? You won't sell otherwise. That means there is a potential desire to have that kind of ring, therefore goldsmith is creating that kind of ring. Otherwise he doesn't have to, because he has to sell the product. Now, if God is there, he has to create. How does he create? Not it whims and fancies that he wants to create anything that he wants. He has to create depending upon the demand. Because people have to enjoy, suffer or whatever that they have to do. So the demand is coming from the vasanas of my previous creation. That forms the avyakrutam from which the vyakrutam came. Follow now? And that is in a potential form. All the samskaras, that means all the vasanas of all beings put together in a total, that forms the seed from which the whole universe is created. So I say, I don't like this creation. Why did God create this kind of universe? What kind of universe you want? I want so beautiful, everybody happy and all that. Then you demand for that. You demanded this, you got this. So never complain about where you are, what kind of wife you are, husband you have, all that, because that's what you asked for it. You gave blueprint and you got it. That's your vasanas that demand that environment to exhaust those vasanas. Therefore, that environment is provided for you to exhaust them. No, I don't like it, I want to go. You cannot create, you cannot eliminate your vasanas. You will go there and have another wife, that's all, or husband, whatever, and suffer the consequence of that. Because these are the vasanas where you can exhaust yourself. Your samskara is nothing but a vasana. Be on my part. That vasanas are there. So samashti vasanas are becoming the cause which is expressed as avyakrutam. Therefore, remember, we have Atma was there before. Now, along with the Atma, there is something else we are putting now. And that is, which is avyakrutam. Unmanifested Maya. So where is your Advaita, sir? Advaita, you are talking about Advaita all this time. Now you have two things. One is Brahman and another is Maya. All these questions are asked, and if you go to Advaita and ask, he will ask you, he will make you confused completely. No, Maya is Brahman only, because there is nothing cannot be other than Brahman. And remember, these are the tenets of Advaita Vedanta, if you correctly understand it. From Brahman point, there is no creation. So you cannot even ask what is Maya and all that there. So from the Paramarthika Satyam, that is from the absolute point, there is no creation and there is no questioner also. There is no divisions of any kind. Sajati Vijati Swagata Beta Rahitam. So therefore no words can reach there. Na vak gacchati, na manaha, yado vacho nivartanti aprapya manasa saha. Scripture itself says no word can reach there, because words what words is only finite. We're going to tell about words also. So all that is only from the point of one who is already created is asking the question, but from the Brahman point there is no creation absolutely, because it's infinite without any differentiation of any kind. And that is called Satyam Jnanam Anantam, which is Swarupa Lakshanam of Brahman. Its nature, intrinsic nature. Now when I say here, I'm questioning here, fellow who is thinking that there is a creation, now we have to tell, yes, Beda, there is a creation, and this is how it started, until he grows up further, until he understands there is no creation. But to reach that state, you have to go by step. So here, the scripture is now telling about the one who is already created. In the previous mantras, there a lot of creation went on. And in that, he's asking a question now, intelligent guy. So what is that? He says, what was there before is essentially, he says, what is unmanifest alone was there in the form of undifferentiated. Unmanifest, undifferentiated, but the totality, it gets expressed into differentiation or expression into forms, and that's what is eva vyakruta. Tan nama rupa abhyam eva vyakruta. That expressed in nama and rupa. So here is a statement of the scriptures. Now we have to analyze. Now what is there when we look at a scientist is investigating an object, right? He wants to know matter. He doesn't mention matter here. All he says is name and a form. Nama and a rupa. Rupa means, Ruma is attribute. Attributes is rupa, sabda, sparsa, rupa, rasa, gandha. There are 5 attributes of the object. And doesn't scripture tells you material here? Where is the material? No material. You see, I am a material scientist, by the by. But there is no material even to be. He says there is no material because what was there is pure existent consciousness. Atma, remember, Atma, consciousness alone was there. And material is unconscious. There is no place for it. How can unconscious come out from consciousness? That is, sir, is called Maya. Agatita Gatana Patiyasi Maya. That which makes impossible possible, appearing as that is in fact is Maya. Now you know what Maya is. How? Just like in your dream. When I go to a dream, my mind creating all objects, forests, water, even sun also, because I slept in a dark room, pitch dark room, make sure there's no light there, otherwise I cannot sleep. But when I was dreaming, there's a bright light in the forest. Where did the sun come? Sun and the moon and everything, all matter, all bhutas are there, panchabhutas are there. How did it come? Is it real? Oh, that's only a dream. Who says that? Dreamer doesn't say it's a dream. Only when I get up I say, oh, that was a dream. But Sakale Satyavad Bhati, in the Atma Bodha, says, as long as I am a dreamer, dreamer doesn't think it is a dream. Dreamer thinks that is real, just as we think this is real. Therefore, objects are coming from where? Avyakrutam becomes Vyakrutam in the dream. Right? This is exactly parallel. So what was there is in the Nidra Shakti, that's called Maya Shakti, the Nidra Shakti covered my originality that I am sleeping in the AC room, in the dark room, it covered all that. Now I am finding myself in the hot sun, in the forest somewhere. No bed, no AC there. Completely opposite from what it is, reality, which is real. Is the forest and sun is real, or the darkness and the AC room is real? For the dreamer, that is real. For a waker, this is real. Now, how did the plurality came? All that in the potential oppressions and suppressions of my waking state I am projecting in the dream as a plurality. For all that samskara that was in the potential form in the avyakrutam state have become expressed in varieties of nama rupa only. There is no real material, real river there, real forest there. And there is there in the dream bank, there is a dream bank, dream money, dream water. If I am thirsty, I have to drink only dream water. Now the other water on the table is not useful for me. So all that is apparently real as long as I am in that state. So I have to understand that example is nature is providing this, to understand using the nature, to understand this is also similar, because I think I am giving a reality to this world, but scripture says now what was there is only in a potential form is expressing in the varieties of names and forms. There is no real matter. We'll go back more later, but here this has to be understood here because the scripture is jumping quickly in terms of from Atma to Avyakrutam, where it doesn't say Maya here, but that's what essentially Avyaktanamni Paramesha Shakti Anadya Vidya Trigunatmika Maya Trigunatmika Para Ayanumeya Sudiyaiva Maya Aya Jagasarvamidam Prasuyate. So the Vivekachudamani says Avyaktanamni Paramesha Shakti. See, that Avyaktam is called Avyakrutam here. That is Parameshwara Shakti, Ishvara Shakti. Shakti means it's a power from which the whole thing comes. So when something is transforming to something else, there has to be a driving force. That's what we learn in science. Right? I don't know if you. So if I move this one here, if from here it has gone to there must be some force which I don't see. But has to be there. That's how Newton defines, right? Force is that which moves an object from place to place. What has been done? But sir, I don't see force. Yes, you don't see, but that is there. Just because you don't see doesn't mean that it's not there. So any transformation of one becoming into many involves a driving force, and that is what is called Maya. in the form of avyakrutam. Now it is expressing in terms of vyakrutam as varieties of names and forms, that samskara. Therefore, it says the nama rupabhyam eva vyakriyata. Asau namaya vidam rupamiti. So even to this date, it's only differentiated in terms of name and form. There is a statement which may not be true, but has to be true. After camp is over, that's what we have to learn. Why? Asau, even now, namaya idam rupamiti. Everything that I see in this world is nothing but nama and rupa only. There is no matter absolutely. This is anybody believes this? But remember, this is a science. Remember just now, I'm going to later, but it will be telling later. It says, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya Jivo Brahma Ivanaparaha Anena Vedyam Tat Shastram. Because of which you know this. What? Brahma alone is real. Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya. Mithya means it is neither exists nor doesn't exist. Sadasat Vilakshanam means Mithya. It is not really existing. It's only for trying, like a ring. Is ring really existing? Yes, I see it's a ring. Say, sir, there is no ring. It's only gold. Why do you call unnecessarily ring? No, it's gold, all right, but it's a ring. You are giving a nama and for a rupa. Right? Rupa means attribute of it has a ID, Vodi, electricity, all those attributes are there, and to that attributive form of gold you are calling a nama, name. But what is there is only gold. So what's real here? Where is the gold matter? There is no ring matter there. There is no matter for it. It's only gold only. So therefore, what is there is essentially existent consciousness alone was there. That is why scripture becomes a pramana now. Shastra cannot become this. Science cannot become a pramana because that's not a means, because it has no tools to investigate this. We'll go into detail a little bit later. But it has no tools to investigate this. Consciousness cannot be investigated. But consciousness alone was there and it became many and appears to be many, even though it appears as an inert thing, as a matter, it's not really matter. Just as even though you are seeing the forest and everything in the dream, there is no forest, thank God. The tiger that was chasing me in the dream, there is no real tiger, it's me only in the form of a tiger. And I created the tiger and I am asking it, I am running away from the tiger. Right? Swami Tejamananda used to tell, I dreamt of my examination, I created the question paper and I flunked in that examination. I dreamt that I flunked. I myself created that examination paper and I myself flunked in that. This is the same. I need to understand this when I am, this is a very beautiful, he gave beautiful talk on that. But when I am getting into problems, I have to apply this. Is there a validity for this problem? So there is no reason for us now to be worried about anything. There is no problem. The situations are there. And that's a part of drama of life that we have to solve. Yesterday there were some situations that are on the phone. So the situations need to be solved. But from the point, never lose the sight of what that is and have, with that understanding, then you can understand the situations. Difficult situations, but will be solved, has to be solved to the degree that possible. Otherwise, wash it off, it is his problem, not my problem. That also has to be kept. That's what Vedantic study has to be. Otherwise, it will be same like any other. So Vedanta, how do I apply? Someone is asking me when I go to other, how to apply this knowledge in the day-to-day? This knowledge has to help me in the day-to-day, otherwise this is useless knowledge. How do I apply? You don't give a reality, you have to play the game as a game. Just as I understand everything is electrons, protons, neutrons, I still differentiate garbage from food. Just because I am a scientist, I am not going to eat garbage. Just because it's electron, proton. So what has to be put in the transactions, I put it there. At the same time, I know that is all nothing but same, electron, proton. So knowledge does not make me to act any indifferently. I have to do what need to be done at each position. So here the scripture is, you have to use the scriptural understanding to see what's happening and why it is pointing first already. Only Atman was there. Now it is bringing Avyakrutam as the Maya, as the driving force to become Nama and the Rupa only. Okay, that much we can understand. Now let's go a little bit more advanced now. What is Rupa? Rupa is attributes of an object. Right? That's how we define an object. You define, any chemistry will say it is colorless, odorless, tasteless, it does this one, it does all those properties you measure and then determine what that material is. That's how chemical identification is done. Any chemistry will tell you. You have to measure, determine the properties. From the properties, you have to find out what is that which material has this kind of properties. Right? So from properties only we can identify, that means from the Rupa is all the properties, we have to find out what that material is. Because we don't know the material otherwise. Now question is the material, there is no material even. How can that be? That's why it says Nama and then Rupa. Not Rupa and Nama. Nama and Rupa. What is Nama? Nama means name, right? But name means what? Name is a word to designate that object, right? This is a chair. Chair is a name. So when I say I chair, then you have a picture of chair already because you know what chair is, right? So name goes with the form. Naming is knowing, isn't it? Without knowing, how do I name? That's why you remember my famous Gaga Bubu? In the other room there's a Gaga Bubu, can you bring it? So what is it? I don't know. But can you go bring it? You don't know, I don't know, how am I going to bring there is Gaga Bubu there? We don't know what Gaga Bubu is because we should know what it is for me to bring. So existence of the object, for me to, I should have the knowledge of it before I can say, is there a chair there? Yes, there is a chair because I can see. That form is chair. Is there Gaga Bubu there? What is Gaga Bubu? I don't know where Gaga Bubu is. What is it? I should have the attributes of Gaga Bubu for me to know where it is there, if it is there or not. So existence or even non-existence of the object. How? Is there a pot there on the table, on the carpet there? Yeah, I don't see any pot. What do you see? There's no pot there. How do you know there's no pot there? How do you know that? You also said there's no Gaga Bubu there. Can you say there's no Gaga Bubu there? Is there a difference here? There's no Gaga Bubu there or there's no pot there. I know what pot is, I know what the attributes of the pot, and I don't see any object with those attributes there. Therefore, I say there is no pot there, right? But I don't know Gaga Bubu because I don't know the attributes of Gaga Bubu for me to say there is a Gaga Bubu or not there or not. We don't know. Follow the logic here. Implication is, for me to know that an object is there, I should have a prior knowledge of attributes of the object, and for which the locus is the locus of the attributes of that object. Right? I'm just logically analyzing because this is all, we take things for granted. We say, is there a pot? How do I know where is the pot? Because I can see. What do I see? I see the form of an object like a pot, which I know people told me, as I am growing, beta, this is a cow. Right? C for cow, D for dog, all those things we learn. Show you a picture. He says, C for cow. He says, there's a cow, beta, that's a cow. It looked like the picture that I saw before. The white one is a cow. Then he says, there's a black cow. That's also a cow. Hey, that is white is a cow. How can black is also a cow? Oh, this one is also cow, and that was, so I had to drop out the black and white and all that, look at the common factors that are what makes a cow as a cow and not a horse. This is called jati. A jati of which is a common factors that make a cow and not a horse. It is a cow jati and horse jati and all. Vyakti is individual. There is a white cow and a black cow and a brown cow and all that. That's Vyakti qualifications. These are all analyzed systematically in our Navya Nyaya, the Tarka Shastra of Indian Tarka Shastra. Extremely beautiful. That's new knowledge, new Nyaya, new logic was developed in 11th century. Not even now. That was a new Navya Nyaya. Therefore, what I am coming at is now, I do not know an object unless I have prior knowledge of that object as naming. So if I see some new object completely, hey, what is this? I don't know. Then I can say, hey, this is this kind of form. It looks like this, but it's not this, but it looks that, but it's not that. I can give all attributes of that from based on my similarities and come up, oh, this is what Gaga Boo Boo I am talking about. Now you know what Gaga Boo Boo, right? Now I have a nama for a rupa. Follow the logic now? So essentially, when you say there's a material there, how do you know? I am taking for granted that there's a chair there, but how do you know? I can see. What do you see? I see only a form and the colors only through my eyes. And that's what he's telling now. One by one, it's only a naming for the attributive knowledge, and everything is attributive knowledge only because there is no substantive. Why there is no substantive? I cannot see substance. Period. You may not accept it, that's true. Oh, I can see this is a gold because you are looking at the attributes of the gold. And say it's a gold different from attributes of the iron. But there is a substance there. It's a condensed in the form, I am calling it a substance. What is the substance? I cannot see, but I can only see attributes, nama, rupa only. Matter doesn't come, thank God. The gold is whatever is there only outside, not in my mind. What comes is only through the senses, only attributive knowledge. So when I see a chair, the senses gather the attributes of the chair and form an image in my mind, and that is what I see. And therefore I say chair is out there, but the chair object is also illumined by my consciousness that I am shedding light on the thought of the chair, and therefore I know there is a thought, and therefore I know there is a chair. Otherwise there is no chair there. If a mind is not there, chair, you can put 100 chairs. I don't see anything. So therefore, nama and a rupa comes, there are two things here. That's why I'm trying to arrive, because this is essentially extremely important to understand this. Rupa is coming from the object. Right? Attributes of the object. But actually, attributes of the object doesn't leave the object. Form of the chair is with the form of the chair only. What I'm getting is reflective attributes of the object. Okay, this is science now, basically. Light falls on it, reflection of the attributes forming an image in my mind. So I am getting a reflective attributes of all objects. So when you say object is there, this is what is happening actually. The attribute, reflective attributes of the object forming an image in my mind as a thought. And I am illumining the thought, and I know this thought, therefore I know the contents of the object out there also, with those attributes. So rupa comes reflected attributes of the object out there. Nama comes from the knowing, which forms the consciousness that I am. Therefore these two are joining together for me to establish the nama rupa. Follow now? Therefore existence of an object is established by the knowledge of its existence in my mind. This is the statement of the Vedanta, and this has to be understood because we are giving a reality. But what is there actually then? What is there actually is, as per the scriptures, Brahman alone. but now expressing in this form. Follow now? Because what was there is pure consciousness alone is expressed in the form of here as inert chair or a table or everything, or him, he, or everything else. So what is there is Atma. Atma is not some Brahman. I am. Me alone expressing myself in varieties. It is myself in the dream expressing the forest and even the tiger also me only. I thought tiger is different from me. And that's why I'm afraid. Dvitiyadvo bhayam bhavati. Remember, the second one is causing me fear. Because tiger is different from me. So if I understand this, but this understanding may not exactly identical to what I experience. Experience of duality will go on, but understanding of the unitary knowledge has to remain in spite of differences that I am experiencing. That becomes a jnana. Follow now? Avijnana means even though there is a plurality and even though I am experiencing the transactional reality, my bank account is still different from your account. Even though I am Vedanta, it doesn't mean that we both our accounts are same. No. My transactions is still same. At the same time, I should have a clear understanding of what pervades the whole universe also. And that is the knowledge has to be kept in mind all the time when I am transacting in the world, then I am really a jnani. Otherwise, only I am a weekend jnani or Memorial Day weekend jnani, because this knowledge doesn't remain that steadily in my mind. Only solution is keep on churning until this is scripture understands that. Therefore, continue the study of this. So now we can go into the details of this. We have exact time schedule for lunch or delayed? You will let, okay. So it's not my fault. So we'll continue this. But I have given the gist of this. Now you can go quickly here. So that was there before is unmanifest. So the nama rupabhyam eva vyakriyata aso nama vidam rupam iti. So tadidam apyetarhi nama rupabhyam eva vyakriyate aso nama vidam rupam iti. So the whole universe came into many forms now, into varieties and varieties of names and forms. And next statement is important. Saesha iha pravishtaha anakhagrebhyoho yada shurani avahita syat. So here, saesha iha pravishtaha. Pravishta means pravesham. Pravesham means entering. So it itself entered into it. So when he created the varieties of names and forms, after creating as though it entered into each form. What is this entering? This is called, the Pravesha statement comes in all Upanishads. Taittiriya Upanishad is there, in the Chandogya Upanishad is there, Anupravesham called. Here it's called Pravishtaha, it's entered as though. So what is the entering? It means it's expressing itself in these varieties of forms, as the essence of it is still there, because infinite cannot enter anywhere. It's already infinite. So when I made a pot, as a pot maker I can say space entered into the pot. How can space enter? When I made a pot, of course there's a pot space different from the other space. But it's as though space entered into the pot. In the same way, consciousness is entering, consciousness existence entering into each one of the objects that are created. So entering is recognition that I am a conscious entity, I am an existent entity. It's there because everywhere, all the time there. Pot space recognizing that I am a pot space, enclosed in the pot. And the knowledge of the pots, to that pot space comes, hey, you are not the pot space, you are the total space that pervades even the pot walls also, and you are all pervading, indivisible. That space you are. If he says, now remaining in the pot, even utilizing as a pot space, now I know I am the total space that pervades all that. While still being used as a pot space. Follow? That is what is Jivan Mukti. The one who is operating with the knowledge that I am Brahmasmi, at the same time a local guy is whatever the transactions that are done according to the prarabdha or whatever that BMI is there, it goes on. So that too, we said now, he has one leg, he can be claiming the totality, so therefore there is no beings in me. That's what Krishna declared, right? Natamastani bhutani pasyami yoga vaishwaram. Look at my glory, Arjuna. There are no beings in me, yet all beings are in me. How? From the totality point, from the Brahman point, there is nothing other than me. So how can there be beings? But at the same time, from the point of plurality, they are all in me. So I can also declare, no more Krishna now. I am that. I am that Krishna, I am that Vishnu, I am that one. Everything is nothing but me only. That and don't say this is blasphemy. He's going to tell. Right now he's going to tell later. Says, this is my signal that I have to eat. So, that understanding has to be synced in the mind. Just as remember I told you electrons, protons, neutrons, now you understand. Understanding of oneness doesn't mean that transactionally I get confused now. I can transactionally, food is food and garbage is garbage. But everything is Brahman. Therefore, Brahmarpanam Brahmahavihi. Brahmagnya, we chant that, right? What is he saying? Everything is nothing but Brahman. Arpanam is, lady is Brahman, this fire is Brahman, this food is Brahman, the eater is Brahman, the result is also Brahman. When we eating, that's all because what we are eating is also who are putting. Brahman is eating Brahman. Ahamannam, 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 ahamannadau, ahamannadau, ahamannadau is scripture. The sage is screaming, I am the food also, I am the eater, I am the food, I am everything. That has to be understood here. It's not only during eat time, that Brahmarpanam is actually also here to do, but at least reminding, but that has to be understood all the time. Okay, I can go on, but here, Saha Ayesha Pravishta is as though entered and Anakhagrebhyoho, from the tip of the nail all the way down. That means everything is nothing but him alone. And here two examples are given. Yatha akshuraha ashuradani avahitasya, just as the sword entering into its sheath. As though means it is innermost self, as though I am, what is I am not this, I am this, I am trying to be conscious entity, I am the mind, I am going inner, as though. But to find out that I am Antar Bahishchata Sarvam Yapya Narayana Sthita, I am inside, outside, everywhere. I have to understand also, because what I am rejecting is only names and forms. The Namarupa only rejecting. I am rejecting only the pot space. I am not really pot space. I am the total space that includes pot space also. That should be the knowledge. Vishwambarova Vishwambar Kulaye. So another example is just as the fire that is hidden in the wood, which expresses itself in varieties of fire also. It is there. Tam na pasyanti. You cannot see it. But agrutasnohi saha, it expresses prananneva prano nama bhavati. Now it's where it says, you cannot see, you cannot know. What are you? I want to know Brahman. You cannot know. Why? It cannot be an object of your perception or knowledge. I just know, you should have told me before I came to camp. I thought I will know Brahman. So you cannot know Brahman because it's not an object for you to know. Then what should I know? You had to know it from its expressions. Follow now? You cannot know it as it is, because it cannot be known. It's infinite, cannot be known. But from its expressions, you have to use a cognitive process involved. Cognitive means you have to think. No, it's not beyond, it's beyond the thought, beyond the mind. That's all garbage. It is with the thought, with the mind. I have to see that it is not the thought and not the mind. Using the mind, I have to say I am not the mind. Follow? That is the real knowledge. So that's why Srotavya, you have to listen. There is no other way. So this is by cognitively I had to understand I am not this while using this. Just as I am looking at the pot and say there is no really pot there. You are lying. You are using it, you are ungrateful. No, I am looking at the pot and say there is no pot here, using it also. I say there is no pot here, what is there? It's clay. From clay it came, by clay it sustained into clay it goes back. Where is the pot, sir? From Brahman everything came? No, from me everything came. By me it is sustained, into me it goes back. So there cannot be anything other than me. That knowledge has to sink in cognitively. Thoughts rise in me, sustained by me and go back into me. Thoughts are nothing but locus of the objects outside. All objects coming as thoughts in my mind. There is no object other than thought. And they are in me. I am conscious of the thought. That means I illumine the thought, existence of the thought and the consciousness of myself together, joining together for me to be conscious of the existence of the thought, therefore conscious of the existence of the object. Whole Vedanta Paribhasha I told. But that is a knowledge. That's why this has to be logically appealing, at the same time factually not yet established. That's why we call it Paroksha Jnanam versus Aparoksha Jnanam. Paroksha Jnanam is intellectually I can understand all these things. But at the same time, it has not internalized as a fact. I am Brahman is not a fact. If I am Brahman, how come I am suffering? Somebody I went and asked Guruji, he says, Swami, I understand everything, I know I am Brahman, but how come I am suffering? He says, Swami, I also want to know why are you suffering? If you are a Brahman means there cannot be any suffering. So understanding as an intellectual thought is different from understanding, using the same intellect, appreciating and recognizing that I am indeed is that. Because consciousness is not a thought, but that because of which I am conscious of. So I tell every time, this example is, remember my hand, right? Remember this is what Swamiji taught me. First thing, this is the first lesson I learned from Gurudev. That's why I never left Vedanta, because of that. This is Kenopanishad talk he was giving in the... So he put me his hand, he says, can you see my hand? He says, yes sir. What do you see? I see your hand, sir. What else you see? Maybe shirt, something else, that's all. I don't see anything else. That's all we are saying. He removed the hand. Now can you see anything there? You can't see anything. There is nothing there. Think again. I can see my hand because there is a light falling on the hand, right? Without the light falling on the hand, you cannot see the hand. And in fact, you are not seeing even the hand also. Science says, what is it you're saying is reflected light falling on this is reflected to your eyes, and then you go through your retina and forming an image in the mind, and all that is only you are seeing the image of the reflected light. Not even the hand, right? But why do you say there is a hand? All you are seeing is reflected light. But light is there. Can you see? I need the light to see the hand, but I need the hand to recognize the light. Follow now? Without the hand, I cannot recognize the presence of the light where the hand is right now. Because light is falling on the hand. Otherwise you won't see. But now, you want to know meditation now? Can you drop the hand and look at the light only? Hand is required. Without that, you cannot see the light. But drop the hand, neti neti is going to come here, neti, not this hand, but because of which you see the hand. It's not the thought, but because of which I know the thought. Because light of consciousness is illumining the thought. Now that is a meditation, where I am the light of consciousness illumining the thought also. Therefore, here it says, na pasyati, tam na pasyati, you cannot see it. But yet, prananeva prane bhavati, it expresses itself as the life principle in you. You are alive, right? I hope. Now you are the life. Remember meditation we started? You are the very life principle in you that you are. Not the body, not the matter, not the life itself, but expressing as a life force itself that makes you matter so dynamic and so vibrant. I can lift my hand, I can fold my fingers. What a miracle. I don't need any other miracle. I don't need Sai Baba putting ash there to see there is a God. Right now here is a miracle. I can blink my eyes. How far I had to go to see the Lord? The very life itself is there. To recognize it is what I need a knowledge. To recognize the very presence of everything. And here the scripture gives you varieties of examples for you one by one. Prananeva prananama bhavati. Vadan vak, by the speech, all the speech is coming out. Pasyan chakshuhu, the faculty of seeing, the eyes are able to see. Srunvan srotam manonva manaha. So the faculty of hearing, so yachakshusha na pasyati, yena chakshum sapasyati, tadeva brahma tam viddhi, nedam yadidam upasate. In the other Upanishad, Kena Upanishad says, that which you cannot see, that yachakshusha na pasyati. Oh Lord, show me the Lord here, I will believe you only if I see. If you see, that's not the Lord. Why you are seeing it? Dusyatvad, because whatever you see is finite. Lord is infinite, you cannot see infinite. Then how do you serve? Yena chakshum sipasyati, that because of which you could see. That because of which you can see my hand. That is the light. And even that light is known because of the other light, that consciousness. There is sun outside, because why? It's bright. How do you know it's bright? I can see. What do you see? A dead man, blind man cannot see, even though sun is shining there. I am the conscious entity, dead man cannot see. And the consciousness because of which even sun I can see, even the darkness also I can see, right? So therefore, prananeva prananama bhavati, vadan vak pasyan chakshuhu srunvan sodam manonva manaha tani asetani karma namanyeva. Therefore they are only nama and karma, and therefore they are essentially names and faculties of or functions. Sahayaha ata ekaikam upaste nasaveda. And now we are going to next statement. So what do I see? The consciousness itself expressing in all these things. So not in any particular form, but in every form. Even though I can use that example as any form. Hello? So I can see, I can hear, I can touch, all senses are operating, very life itself which I cannot know what it is, but I am alive, I know. That because of which I am alive, that is the light of consciousness that make me matter making a dynamic entity. That is I am. And that has to be understood. And those who worship any particular object as God or this are not knowing the truth. That's what he's going to tell us now. Sahayaha ata ekaikam upaste nasaveda. The one who worships any particular form as the God, thinking that that alone is God, Krishna alone is God, Vishnu is not, alone is God, not Shiva and all that. Whoever worships only a particular name and form as that as the total, they do not know. This is scriptural statement here. Nasa Veda, he says, Akusnohi Esha Ata Ekaikena Bhavati. So Akrutaha, so he indeed Esha Ata Ekaikena Bhavati. So all pervading, and indeed all pervading, unmanifest itself has become many here. Therefore, any particular one, if you think that is the total, it cannot be. If you think the whole thing that pervades everything, so I know everything is Brahman, but not my neighbor. If you say, no, say neighbor is also Brahman, even though you may not like him, that's also Brahman only. But he doesn't, I don't like the way he acts. That is different. Don't put, no, if the tiger or the snake is Brahman only, doesn't mean that you should go and put finger there. So treat snake as a snake when you are, there are snakes and animals and foxes are all over there. Some in two-leg forms. But don't unnecessarily, you will get hurt if you go there and don't try to be away from those, wherever that you, if you have to transact very carefully. That's all. This is a part of this. But know that all-pervading Lord is pervading that also. So akrutaha snahi esha ataha ekaikena bhavati. So atma iti eva upasita. Therefore, what you have to do, upasana, is only that consciousness alone is there expressing in every form. So if you want to do upasana, tadeva brahmatam vidhi nedam yadilam upasate. Not your worshipping is, that's what from the Kena Upanishad, not your worshipping is God, but that which pervades and in this form, in that form, and every form, if you can see that, then this becomes so beautiful. So with this understanding, when you listen to the Pujari doing the Ashtauttara Nama, every word is indicating of that. Sarvajnaha, Sarvashaktiman, all these words that he is using in the Nama is only pointing to that which is not this object, but yet using the object, my mind has to shift because that's meant for that only. So atra hi eti sarvam ekam bhavati. In that understanding of that, where I can see oneness that pervades everything, if I have that vision of the oneness in the plurality, then my mind is understood this, and this becomes what? This becomes a vibhuti. Remember, Krishna tells you in the 10th chapter, says, look at my vibhuti. So he gives several examples, and in the end he gets tired and says, who can I tell you my vibhutis? They are limitless. Anything glorified, know that I am that. That's in the 10th chapter. If you go to 11th chapter, you will take you even beyond. Even things that you don't like also, I am that also. Here he thinks what you like is because I am everything. So even the Rakshasas, everybody is nothing but me only. It's all my glory. Glory can be is positive, negative, everything else is me only, expressing in varieties of names and forms. And that becomes my vibhuti. Vibhuti means my glory. Now, that is only Bhagavad Gita. Now in the Upanishad when we come, it's not Krishna's vibhuti now. It is my own vibhuti expressing in this form. Okay? That becomes a knowledge. And that has to be understood. So therefore, tadetat padaniyam asya sarvasya yadayam atma. So in that invocation that Atma alone was there, I can invoke him in any form because he is all forms. Every form is nothing but that form also is that form. If every form is all pervading, I can invoke him in any form. Oh, it should be only this form is God and not that form. It says that's your problem. I can invoke that also. Because he is there in everywhere, then how can it be only in that particular forms? The formless form can be invoked in any form. Oh, the Hindus are all people, they don't know anything. They worship dogs, they worship this and this. We can see even the Lord in the dog also. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmano Gavihastini. Right? Vidya Vinayam Brahmana, Gavi Hastini, in the elephant, in the cow, in the dog, in the realized person or in the wise person. Sunis Supakaicha, Pandita Samadarsana. Even in the dog and even in the dog eater also, I am seeing the oneness that pervades all that. And he is Pandita. He is the one who knows the truth and therefore he doesn't cry, right? Pandita. Anusochante Panditaha. That's how it starts. So he is the Pandita who sees the oneness that therefore what is there for him to afraid? It's not that something else has oneness. It is I am that pervades the whole entire universe has to be understood as the knowledge now. And how we will go slowly, but that tadetat padaniyam asya sarvasya yadayam atma. So all pada is word, and that which is padartham is the essence of the pada is word, right? And every word is nama, rupa only. For a rupa you give a word, that's called nama, but essence of it is aitadatma medagum sarvam tat satyam sa atma. That is in the Chandogya says, idagam sarvam, everything in this, everything is nothing but, the essence is nothing but that sat alone that pervades everything. And that is you, Shvetaketu is essentially. So, yada havai pade nama vinde devam kirtim slokam vindate veda em veda. So, yada havai. So, he gives an example of how we can trace an animal gone somewhere. Say, how do we know? By footpaths, we can tell what the animal is and where he has gone. So, looking at the impressions of the foot of the animal, we can find out what the source is. Now, what do we do? Looking at the impressions of the expressions of that totality in varieties of names and forms, I had to use my mind to recognize it is me that is pervading everything. Follow? So now the knowledge is not God is everywhere. Knowledge is I am the pure existent consciousness that is expressing in this form, in that form, in that form, in that form, even in the form of garbage also. It's me only. Because garbage is required to reject certain things. The whole world becomes a different vision once I keep this mind and transact in the world that everything is nothing but me only, expressing in varieties and varieties of names and forms only. And therefore, yada havai pade nama vinde devam. So one who has understood that by looking at the impressions of the steps that I can recognize the animal that went through. Same way, by looking at every name and a naam and a form, every name and a form, looking at it, it is expression in this form. Avyakrutam is expressing in the vyakrutam in this form. Why in this particular form? Because he likes that form. Remember why I bought this kind of gold rings and all that? There's a demand for it. So I want to express, Brahman express in this form here, in that form there, in that form. So in the different names and forms are being expressed because in those bodies, in those expressions only, those particular vasanas can be exhausted. So these varieties of names and forms I see, but now I have to have cognitively understand that the truth that beyond these names and forms, that pervades and that sustains the names and forms, is that I am only, that consciousness that I am. And one who understands it, that is the glorious thing, that is the highest reality, and mission is accomplished. Then what else I had to do? What else? Nothing else to do. You have done what need to be done. Kruta krutya is the one, what need to be done has been done. Then See, Atman eva Atma. I revel in myself or revel in myself in these various names and forms as my own vibhuti. Then it becomes a revelation. And scripture says that person who has realized this own understanding is Kirtim Slokam Bindati Ya Evam Veda. Yaha Evam Veda. The one who knows this says Kirtim Slokam. The people start praising, everybody start praising. Kirtim means his glory will spread all over. And that is 7 generations decide, 7 generations are glorified by a person who has realized. And there's a in the Taittiriya Upanishad, Aham Mrutshasya Riva Kirtim Krishtim Riva. There is a sloka also. Those we have taken the Taittiriya Upanishad. It's available in the CD form. I think it's only in the CD form, I guess. So those who want to know, but this is a song of a realized person. I am the tree that supports the whole thing, whole universe itself. So this is a tree of whole life itself is tree with the roots above. That is, I am the very root that provides the life for the whole thing itself, expressing in varieties and varieties all the way, all over the universe, spreading all over. And that is my glory. And Kirtim Slokam Vindate. So one who knows this service, that obtains the fame. Not that he wants the fame. It is glorified by people because people see that is the highest thing that one can achieve. Those who understand it. Those who don't understand it, they think the others is a success. So success is this. The wife is a fulfillment in realization that I am the totality itself, but expressing in varieties of names and forms, and they are all in me. Now, for me, what is there to enjoy? I am enjoying the life in that form, I am enjoying the life in this form, I am enjoying life in another form. He is having maja. No, I am having maja in that form. So where is that? There is nothing that I really cannot enjoy. All enjoyments become my own enjoyments. How about all sufferings? Suffering also my enjoyment. Is that true? People watch tragedies also, right? It's a game. They want to see drama of life. One side crying. So Swami Dhiranand used to tell a joke, and some family invited him for dinner and wanted to watch some, I don't want to tell the family. They invited him for that. No, I want to watch this tragic story. So she brought one big box of Kleenex before we turned it on, and he brought one more Kleenex, 3 Kleenex, husband 1 Kleenex, and for Swami also 1 Kleenex box. Why? Because we are going to cry when they then, so he was crying. So at last, the heroine was dying. So the wife was crying already. So asked her husband, "Why are you crying? I am here." So Swamiji muttered himself, "That's why he's crying." So, not that I want to say, but this, I can see the beauty in everything, provided I have that vision. That does not mean I am ruthless, I am not compassionate, I am not, because I play a role of compassionate person when compassion is required. When somebody is suffering, not, oh, this is all my vibhuti, I don't say that. My vibhuti includes my helping also. So people ask, what should I do with so many people? Then if you can do something, then do. Don't sit and cry. Because we have people in India, people are completely complaining, oh, this is happening, that's happening. They complain continuously, not do nothing but complain. But if you can do something, do it. If you can't do it, there is no point in complaining, then suffer. So don't say that this is a certificate to say everybody just enjoy suffering also. No, if you can do something to stop, that's what Lord is providing you an opportunity, and that is the beauty of life also. Where I want to see everybody be happy. Sarve bhavantu sukhinaha. You want to pray, right? Let everybody see auspiciousness. And I want everyone to recognize the same state, even though there is no one else to me other than me. But yet, I want even to see that, and this gamma can go on. And at the same time, understanding wise, I am not perturbed. Dukkheshu anudvigmanaha sukheshu vigataspraha vitaraga bhayakrodaha sthita dhir munirichyate. People ups and downs and everything, but I am unperturbed because I am the total where no perturbation can be there. That understanding has to come depending upon when the lunch is ready. The lunch is ready? 5 more minutes. Okay, let's go to 148. Next mantra. Tadetat priyaha putrat priyo vittat priyo anyasmat sarvasmat antarataram yadayamatma sahayaha anyamatmanaha priyam bhruvanam sahayaha anyamatmanaha Priyam Bhuvanam Bruyat Priyam Rosyatiti Iswaroha Tathaiva Syad Atmanameva Priyam Upasita Saya Atmanameva Priyam Upastena Hasya Priyam Priya yuktam bhavati. So why should I go after this? And here scripture gives you another reason why. Why do you go after anything? Because I like it, right? I like something, therefore I go after it. So if something is priyam is that which gives me happiness, I go after. So this gives me happiness, therefore I go after. Since I don't have it and I want to have it because that gives me happiness. In the Maitreya Brahmana, he is going to tell more about this. But here, he says, I am going after something because I love it, I like it, and so on. We use that. That because with that I am going to be happy, without that I am not happy. Therefore, all my pursuits in life is going after happiness only. But what is the highest happiness here? It says, Tadetat priyaha putrat. This is more or higher the happiness than even your sons and daughters and your prodigy. How about wealth? Priyo vittat, it is more, gives you more happiness than even the wealth also. Priyo anyasmat sarvasmat. In fact, it is priyam. Priyam is that which you like most, or which gives you happiness, or which you love more than anything else in this life. What he says, you love yourself more. That's what the Yajnavalkya is going to tell Maitreyi wife. My dear, wife doesn't love her husband. This is the husband teaching wife. Wife doesn't love her husband. What she loves is only happiness that she gets because of her husband. She thinks husband brings happiness, therefore she loves husband. If husband brings pain in the neck, husband becomes a pain in the neck all the time, then what happens? I don't know, but you decide. Same thing happens with the wife also, husband also. Husband doesn't love his wife, he loves only happiness that she brings him, and therefore he loves her because It is the happiness that he loves, and happiness is what? Happiness is not outside. Happiness comes from inside only. That's what the analysis is. Happiness comes from my own self, and I am that Ananda Swarupam. Therefore, I am that happy, but I think it is there, therefore I am going after that. But when it goes there and when I get it, I am back to myself. I am no more wanting mind, no more desiring mind, no more longing mind. My mind is satisfied temporarily, it's full temporarily until I want something else. But if I am full all the time, if I understood I am full all the time, then I don't go after anything. Pratahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atman eva atmanatushta. He is leveling in himself by himself. Therefore, he doesn't have any desire for anything else. Therefore, all the desires are gone. Because desire is only for him to become happy. But he is already happy. Therefore, there is no more longing for happiness. But therefore that Atma is Atmaniyeva Atmanatushtaha. He is reveling in himself because that self is Atma, happiness only, because it is infinite. Anantam. And Anantam Eva Anandam. Infinite alone is happiness, because any limitations cause unhappiness. Because I don't like to be limited, that's why I am going after. Thinking that will make me unlimited. But remember, we are solving a problem where there is no problem to start with, and you are solving a problem in a wrong way also. Because by going a finite things, I cannot become infinite. And if you are already infinite, that going after things is also useless also. So you are solving a problem where there is no problem, and that has become a problem now, right? So what is the solution to the problem? Not going after, but understanding that I am full. How do I full? That you are going, what you are is knowing that I am full. How do you know? That Atmatya Upasita. Until you recognize that you are that Atma, until do this Upasana, no more other Upasanas. Other Upasana is only meant for this. Upasana means invoking that, yes, I am here, I am there, I am there. Upasana is what? I am there everywhere. So I have to see as a sadhana now to see the presence of myself in everything. That is called Atma Upasana. How do I do Atma Upasana? I can do Vishnu Upasana or Shiva Upasana and all that. How can I do Atma Upasana? Putting flowers on myself because I'm putting on the body. No, I'm not the body. I am the consciousness entity. Consciousness is infinite. So I am there, everything in every object here. Therefore, I am expressing itself. That's why he said that itself is expressing avyakrutam into vyakrutam. Therefore, I had to see my presence in this form, in that form. Therefore, my upasana, since I don't see it right now, first thing in the morning when I get up, this should be your meditation now. What? Invoke my own presence in everything, starting from your own spouse. It's me only sleeping there. It's me only as a tree there. It's me only as a cockroach growing there. It's me only as an ant there. It's me only by that bug. We have a lot more in India. The mosquito bug keep coming up me and biting me. It's me only. If I had to invoke the presence, invocation is different from acting properly at the transactional level. Because I am this body also. I don't want this body to get hurt by that body of mine. You follow? I don't want to hit my hand with this. Just because I am here, this my hand is, and this is also me, I don't want to keep hitting myself. So, even though I invoke myself as I am also mosquito, doesn't mean that I have to go bite this me, who is also body. You follow that? So, Swami Tejavananda said, we have to learn from everything. Somebody asked, what do you learn from mosquito? How to be persistent. Mosquito never leaves. You have to be persistent. It never sees more fly and it'll bug you until it gets its food. No, that mosquito is the only animal where you put net about any other animal, but it puts net about you. It locks you up inside the net. So it's a very powerful animal. And what do you know about no? Say, okay, mosquito I like. What about devil? What do I learn from a devil? How to be consistent. So we can learn from this, provided we have open our eyes. So transactionally I can transact, but cognitively I have to understand the oneness that I am pervading. So upasana is cognitively, I say transactionally I know it is only a turmeric powder there, putting in there. But once I invoke Avahaya asmin bimbi mahaganapatin avahayami, I am invoking Mahaganapati into the turmeric, no more turmeric there, and I am doing puja. It is nothing but Brahman, right? Nothing but Ganesha. Same way when I am invoking first thing in the morning, when I get up in the morning, recognize the presence of yourself, not only in you, in everything also. And oh Lord, let me keep that knowledge. But if you can't do that yourself, at least invoke the presence of God to start with. See the presence of God in everywhere. Until you understand God is nothing but, He has to be conscious entity. Not unconscious entity cannot be God. He has to be existent also. And there cannot be two existence and consciousness, because consciousness is infinite. So I have to say, I am that also. That should be understanding. But don't go to a temple and say, I am that also. Don't, they will kick you out. So, while transacting, whatever do you do as a puja, but clear understanding when you are doing the puja. You have to lift your mind to that state of understanding. Even while doing puja, even doing arati, that drama can go on, but understanding should be different as a Vedantin. That is Atma ityeva upasita. That is Atma eva iti upasita. Until then it is the upasana. Keep that understanding as a part of your this one too. So tade tat prema. Therefore it is most enjoyable thing. Because all enjoyment is only for this. Therefore this is a source of happiness. So Vidyaranya asks a question in the Panchadasi. Says, do you like Gaga Babu? Remember my Gaga Babu, right? Do you love Gaga Babu? He says, I don't know what it is. How do I know Gaga Babu? How do I love? Which means that for you to love something, you should know. Without knowing, you cannot love anything. You cannot love XYZ unless you know who is that XYZ. Yeah, that is true. That means when you say you love yourself, that means you should know yourself. Yeah. Then why are you studying the scriptures? You already know yourself. The scripture you are studying because you don't know yourself. If you don't know yourself, how do you love yourself? In fact, not only it says you love yourself, it says, I am Paramananda, this is supreme happiness, it says. Not only all other happiness, all other premas is Parama Premaspadam Yataha. It is Parama Prema. It is where the most beloved thing is myself. But I don't know myself. If you say, how can you have a beloved thing yourself without knowing yourself? He says, I know myself enough to love me, but at the same time, I don't know myself enough to understand who I am. I know half of it. I know I am existent. Anybody here thinks that they are not existing? Nobody is looking for existence. I am sure you all know that you are conscious entities, but no one is looking for Sat and Chit. What you are looking for is only Ananda. So 2/3 you already know. Because you know already, you love it. But you have mistaken notion that Ananda is somewhere else, unfortunately, and that's why all my trouble is going after looking for Ananda only. So, therefore, everything, this is the highest one. Therefore, how does it express? Mana bhuvam hi bhuyasam iti prematma chate. The Panchadasi says, let me not cease to exist. And that's how love for myself, because I want to be there all the time. And that's what it is. Asatoma sadgamaya, tamasoma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amrutam gamaya. Lead me from Death to immortality. But if I understand that I am immortal, then the prayer is fulfilled. Right? That's what is essentially Asmat Sarvasmat. Preyo Anyasmat Sarvasmat. Antaradaram Yadayamatma. It is everything is nothing but me only. Say Antaradaram. It's inside, outside, everywhere. It is nothing but me. He says everywhere I am pervading all over. And whoever thinks, now scripture says, whoever thinks, so now you be careful, don't fall into this category. So, sahayaha anyam atmanaha priyam bruvanam bhuyat, priyam rot satyati iti, iswaroha tadaiva syat. So, whoever thinks that there is anya, the other one is being more, is where I love this, if you have a think that something else is there for you to love and that is giving me happiness. It can be your son or a daughter or object or office or promotion, anything that you think of, that which think is going to be give you happiness. It says, whatever that object, that nama rupa is object, right? Everything is nothing but nama rupa. If you think that nama rupa is giving you happiness, then that nama rupa is impermanent. Don't rely on it. So anything that is qualified, that you have investment, that you think is going to give you happiness, you are doomed, because there is no happiness, because that itself is mrityu. That is itself is going to change. You cannot depend on it. So therefore, everything becomes mortal only. Only thing immortal is only you. Everything in the universe is nothing but, there are only two, subject and object, right? There is one thing we have to be careful. When I say, I am there and I am apramim, I don't need any means of knowledge to know that I am there. Even you may say I am not there, I know I am there. No means, no, I don't need a logic, I don't need scriptures to tell me that I am there. I am existent and I am consciousness. But how about you? From my point, you are only an object. Remember this. From my point, you are only an object of nama rupa. Follow this. As a consciousness, it's me only then, expressing in that nama rupa. Nama rupa is transactional, it's only keep changing. When you say you are changing, only your body mind is changing. But consciousness doesn't change. So when I say I am seeing you, when you claim that, you may say I am there. From your point, from my point, I am only hearing you. Without my knowledge, your existence cannot be established. This is very important, particularly in science. People think that science is very objective, sciences and all that. Because they think that this is the ultimate fundamental truth. What? Keep on breaking atoms and coming with the smaller particles by accelerating. I may come up with a particle, but remember, particle cannot be discovered unless I am there. Without a conscious entity, it's only probabilistic system. The probability that there is there, but the probability becomes a deterministic only when the consciousness is there to say, yes, it is there. Without me, I am investigator, investigating what is the fundamental particle. Without that, no fundamental particle will reveal itself. But science is only, if you think only objective analysis using objective tools, and it cannot analyze the subject I am. Because scripture says, aprameyam, cannot be an object of any knowledge. Because you are the knowledge itself. Therefore, even so-called objective sciences are, Shankara is going to tell you, is all avidya. There is no vidya there. That's why Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya, Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. Anena Vedyam Tat Shastram. That because of which alone is the real science, everything else is not science. And that, see why it's not science is going to tell us more. And we got a signal, and therefore we are going. So we go for the Bhiksha. I'm saying Bhiksha means you have to eat what is given. And come back. Those who want to come back, we can have a question and answer sessions. Because a lot of people come and ask me questions because they are same questions other people have it. So, but write it in a paper, write in such a way that not only you can read, but I also can read. We will answer only because those questions that are written, then we will address that. And those who want to take rest, they can go and take rest. We will resume the class at, when is it, next 2 o'clock? The class, the schedule is 2, right? So we'll meet at 2 o'clock for the class, but after lunch is over, you can come back, and whenever we can start the discussions here. 1:30? Okay, we'll do Brahmarpanam Brahmahavihi. Om Brahmarpanam Brahmahavihi Brahmagno Brahmanahutam Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam Brahmakarma Samadhina. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha.